Every single day, we're all moving through this web of invisible systems. We trust them to work, to be fair, and to keep us safe. But what happens when those systems just break? Today, we're looking at 3 stories that seem totally unrelated, but they all show a crack in that very foundation.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. When you buy gas, when you're just walking down the street, when you have to call for help, you're putting a ton of trust into the world around you, probably without even realizing it. You're trusting that all of these systems that govern our lives are actually, well, functioning.
These things right here, they're basically silent promises our society makes to us. That when you pay for something, it'll be processed correctly. That the law will be upheld. That if you need some peace and quiet, someone will listen. So, let's take a look at what happens when those promises get broken.
Okay, let's dive into this first story. It all starts with something super normal, something you do all the time, filling up your car at a gas station. But because of a simple little software glitch in Leavenworth, Kansas, this everyday chore turned into a total financial nightmare.
So this is what it should have cost. A customer at a 7-Eleven fills up their tank one morning. The total comes to $35.77. Nothing to see here, right? A completely normal purchase.
But then, when that same customer went inside to buy a drink, their card was declined. Why? Well, it turns out the pump's software had this tiny little glitch. It just moved the decimal point 2 places over. So that $35 charge was actually over $3,500. And believe me, the problem was just getting started.
Get this, more than 2 hours after that first error was reported, the pumps were still on. That's when another customer, Garrett Templeton, filled up his truck and got hit with a charge for a staggering $8,265.
And listen to how Mr. Templeton himself put it, $250 a gallon. I mean, the price is just ridiculous, but the charge was devastatingly real. It wiped out people's accounts right before the holidays.
But the tech glitch, that was only part 1 of the failure. The second part was how the system responded. When these customers tried to get their money back, they got trapped in this endless bureaucratic loop. The store blames corporate blames the bank, and the charges just kept coming back. It was like that Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other, And the customer's just stuck in the middle, left holding the bag.
All right, let's shift gears for our second story and see how this whole theme of broken trust can get even more serious. We're moving from a tech glitch to a massive institutional failure. And this time, it's not just about money, it's about life and death.
The core fact here is just chilling. In a murder-suicide that was related to domestic violence in Las Vegas, the gunman, Eddie White, was a juvenile probation officer, an agent of the justice system. The very person tasked with upholding the law became the one to violently break it.
In this horrible event, it actually shines a light on a really disturbing trend in the city. According to police reports from Las Vegas Metro, while overall homicides have been going down, the leading cause of them, domestic violence, is actually on the rise.
There's a reason experts call domestic violence a hidden epidemic. And this is the real crux of the systemic failure. It's a crisis that happens behind closed doors, which makes it incredibly difficult for the system, for law enforcement, for social support, to step in before it's too late.
And look, this wasn't just a one-off tragedy. It's a symptom of a much bigger problem. The source material points out that Nevada consistently ranks among the worst states in the entire country for domestic violence fatalities. This points to a deep systemic challenge that goes way beyond just a single person.
Okay, for our third and final story, we're going to bring it back down to a more local level, but it's a system failure that's just as maddening. This one's all about the breakdown of basic government, where the rules are written down, but in reality, there's just silence.
So on the books, in Harnett County, North Carolina, the noise ordinance is super clear. You shouldn't be able to hear a noise from 50 feet away. Simple. But when residents call the sheriff's department about squealing tires or blasting stereos, they're told, sorry, there's nothing we can do. The system is there, but it's not working at all.
And when reporters tried to get some answers, well, does this sound familiar? The county commission chair just passes the buck, shuffles the questions off to the public information office. It's that same runaround, with no one willing to actually take responsibility for the problem.
So what's the bottom line here? The county's official response is basically a non-response. They tell people, hey, come to a meeting, but in the same breath admit they have no plans to change anything. And the deputies, the ones who are supposed to enforce the rule, total radio silence. The whole system is just inert.
So, a decimal point error, a rogue officer, an unenforced ordinance.
At first glance, these things feel completely random, right? Totally different failures. But are they really just isolated incidents? Or are they all pointing to something deeper?
In every single one of these stories, it wasn't just that the system failed, it's that the system failed to fix itself. Whether we're talking about corporate bureaucracy, institutional blind spots, or just plain old civic indifference, the result is always the same. The people who depend on these systems are left completely powerless. These aren't just bad apples, it feels more like a crack in the barrel itself.
And that really brings us to the big, final question. What's the real cost of all this? It's not just about the lost money or the lost peace or even, tragically, the lost lives. It's the erosion of trust, the very glue that holds our whole society together. And it really makes you wonder, what happens next?